Over on Channel 2 we have Sale of the Century, but now it's 9 p.m, and that means it's time for the Thamesmen.
Hello!
Oh dear, we should go back to being magicians.
Magicians, yeah. Never didn't make any money. So.
No, I know. Well, you know, it was a kiddies' parties that brought the money in.
Easy.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Thamesmen. My name's Alex. I'm in San Francisco.
I'm George. I'm in Los Angeles.
And you've reached middle of Kate Bush week, which has been quite phenomenal. I'm absolutely blown away by this artist.
And this is thanks to Sean Carroll, who is one of our subscribers, who very kindly put together a curated list for us with stunning notes. I mean, if anyone else is going to send us notes, you're going to have a tough time to live up to these ones, because this is class A.
What's been so amazing about these tracks is, first of all, the level of songwriting and performance by Kate Bush. But the notes that Sean provides the story behind the track. So we've done one track. I'm not sure which order the thing's coming out, but we did Wuthering Heights. It's just phenomenal. Once you know from Sean what the song's about, why is it about, the part she played, everything came together as an artist. She's not just a songwriter, performer. She is a genius.
Absolute genius. And today's track is from a different perspective, I think. And I'm really excited by this one, because this is the song originally is Peter Gabriel with Kate Bush, and it is Don't Give Up, which I have seen live multiple times, and I think is one of the finest Peter Gabriel tracks. When you see this live, it brings a tear to your eye. It is stunning how good this is, and Peter Gabriel has been in all our lives a lot. He used to be my boss for some years, and so I used to go to quite a lot of the concerts. You've obviously run into him in the past as well, Alex, haven't you? But
yeah, absolutely. From the past, from being a musician, and then we recorded. As Kate Bush is an innovator, so is Peter Gabriel, and he founded WOMAD very early, many years ago. World of Music and Dance, and he brings all these musicians around the world, and then we were down there, you were down there as well, and his main studio,
Real World Studios. We had to put a picture of Real World down here, because it is unbelievable. I went and worked there once, and it was, as you know, it is true. It's an old mill house down near Bath, and it is the most creative, amazing space you can imagine.
Fantastic. When the water kind of comes up on the windows, so when you're there, you're playing the piano or whatever, and a duck's going by, and you can see his feet just paddling around. So you take these two creative musicians, world-class stature, and you're going to put them together. This is going to be phenomenal.
Yeah. I mean, should I read a little bit of the notes from Sean, because they are fantastic notes?
Yeah, we're going to have to find a way, and we don't know how yet. We're going to have to. It might that we have to put them on a different site or a Patreon site, or we're trying to put them, whatever. We don't know, but we're going to have to get you these notes over to you, because Sean's notes are just crazily good.
Yeah, it is as good as they get. So but so this one, Don't Give Up. Yeah, this because this is Peter's song. He says in 1973, Peter Gabriel saw Dorothy Lang's images of poverty-stricken Americans in depression-area Dust Bowl conditions.
Oh, on that, have you seen those photographs?
I haven't actually. No.
There's one by the immigrant. I think it's called The Immigrant Mother. There's a woman. She was employed in the Dust Bowl to catalogue the images, and they're black and white. And there's a very famous one, The Immigrant Mother, and it's a woman. You could just see that she is glazed over, and she is just beaten. and then the two children are hugging her, whatever. And it's just, there's so much emotion in one photograph. I could see why he got stuck. We have to put some images in.
Yeah. And then it says later he saw conditions for people in England during the Thatcher era as having parallels. And he wrote "Don't Give Up" about a man suffering from prolonged unemployment, struggling against the expectations of his youth versus the reality of his later years, and the difficulties his hopeless feelings were having on his family relationships. His opening lyric is literally the name of the book, "In This Proud Land."
Wow.
And
so I did not know that it's a direct correlation to, you know, the modern day Dust Bowl, the despair.
Well, you know, we grew up in Thatcher era, so we know what that was like in some of the ways. But it originally conceived as a duet, and he'd envisaged it with Dolly Parton. Now that would have been very different. And you know, it was Peter singing verses as the man struggling for survival and breaking under the weight of his responsibilities and the loss of his dreams, with the part for Dolly being partner trying to solve his pain, giving unswerving support and needing him to keep holding on for all his sakes. Dolly declined, and he offered the part to Kate. So they worked together several times. So I think this is the official video. There isn't a live video that we could find on this one, but this is the official video. I think we should see.
Oh, you get these amazing musicians, right? You get some bands just talking about, I want to be sedated, and then you get Peter Gabriel, who's taking a modern day interpretation of the Dust Bowl and the pressures of expectations of youth and actual reality of the man, and trying to find a counterpart. Jesus Christ, I don't know what I was doing at his age, but I definitely was not doing that. I was probably trying to get a scooter.
Yeah, right. Or go down the pub for some crisps.
Trying to get my motorbike going and taking that apart, you know.
So the other thing to look out for on this one is, so this is on the So album, which was a huge album for Peter Gabriel, just amazing. And the bassist on this is one of the world's greatest bassists, Tony Levin. And so that's worth checking out as well. So
good. All right. Well, I'm really looking forward to this one now.
Yeah,
expectations or loss of reality from your young manhood dreams to modern day. You know, I relate.
You relate, do you?
I relate. We both must relate. You don't relate. No, all right, let's do this.
Let's have a look.
Are we going to cry?
No, we're English.
Okay, thank God. All right.
Are you ready?
Yes.
3, 2, 1, go.
proud land we grew up strong. We were wanted all along. I was taught to fight, taught to win. I never thought I could fail. No fight left, or so it seems. I am a man whose dreams have all deserted. I've changed my face, I've changed my name, but no one wants you when you lose.
Don't give up, 'cause you have
brilliant.
You worry too much. It's gonna be alright. When times get rough, you can't fall back on us. Don't give up. Please don't give up.
Got to walk hard to feel I can't take anymore. Gonna stand on that bridge, keep my eyes down below. Whatever may come and whatever may go, that river's flowing. That river's flowing. Moved on to another town. Tried hard to settle down. For every job, so many men, no one needs.
Don't give up, 'cause you have friends. Don't give up, you're not the only one. Don't give up, no reason to be ashamed. Don't give up, you still have us. Don't give up now, we're proud of who you are. Don't give up, you know it's never been easy. Don't give up, 'cause I believe there's a place where we belong.
I am absolutely gobsmacked.
That is songwriting perfection.
Once Sean explained what the song is about,
Mm-hmm.
it's on another planet.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Just that dialogue between them.
They're so convincing as well. I want a woman to love me as much as Kate seemed to love him at that point.
Yeah.
And how, and you felt so sorry for the guy and the anguish of the woman seeing the pain and the man.
What they love.
And it was just, and how she was trying with all her heart to hold him up. And it was just, once you know the backstory of the song, I just used to know the hook. Now, knowing the song, it's phenomenal.
And just that last 40, 50 seconds of it when they're not singing and they fade out and that bass line kicks in, I just had all the hairs on the back of my arms and everywhere just standing up. It was just electric. That was just stunning.
So right about that bass player. I'd never tuned in. It was like, really all there were some pads in the background, some synth pads, a drum tick track.
Yeah.
few other, and the bass.
Tony Levin. Tony Levin is like, when I've seen Peter play live, Tony Levin's almost always his bass player, and he is astounding player. Just like, and he's a really nice man, and he always, like, when they're on shows, he always has his camera with him, and he's always like, between moments, he's picking up his camera, taking pictures of everything.
The emotion that they both portrayed in the most convincing roles that they played, and the lyric writing of it, just absolutely made an entire believable performance and play.
Yeah. It was a story. It was a poem. It was amazing, and even the sort of simplicity of the videography, where they were just like on a turntable, and when it was their moment, they were facing forward, sort of thing, and he just rotated them around between their parts. The duet.
I wonder with the sun. I wonder if that was slightly, opaque. I wonder if that was in nod to the Dust Bowl, as in like you couldn't see the sun as well.
It kind of went through an eclipse, didn't it? It was so.
Well,
I tell you, like I know you Peter Gabriel isn't your first choice, but
until now, because as we kind of were talking before, and George was saying, because obviously George. That was George's boss, so he's seen Peter Gabriel a lot, and I was saying, no, I'm not sure. And that, but now I think it's just because I didn't know the backstory, I didn't know the level of his writing. It's on a completely different level now.
Peter Gabriel is the musician's musician. He is, and as well as being a musician's musician, he's also, a huge humanitarian. He's part of they call the Council of Elders, and they he was worked with Mandela and all sorts of people, and he did the song Biko, which is just amazing.
Just what he did for WOMAD, and watching WOMAD from the very, very early days when we were involved to what it is now, and also it also nearly toppling over so many times, and yet he persevered, and it's probably the best festival in England to go to.
Yeah. So, well, if you ever get a chance, World of Music and Dance, fantastic. Do you remember that time we were in Cornwall Coliseum when you guys played?
Of course, yeah.
And then Van Morrison was there.
Yeah, Grumpy Kit.
And do you remember? I can't repeat it. Do you remember the drinking Guinness? And then working out the best way to get across the campsite.
I do kind of remember all those, strangely enough, you know what I mean? They were great times, absolutely great times. But I also remember seeing Nusafat Ali Khan at WOMAD, and I still have never, ever, ever in the entire life ever heard of anyone like Nusafat Ali Khan. And then Bono came out and said, greatest singer on earth, and it was like, and we saw him with a WOMAD with probably about 500 people there, and he was revered in his home country as like one of the greatest gods.
Yeah, I know, fantastic. And there's so many great acts they had. Do you remember there's one from St. Petersburg, I think they were, like the Terem Quartet, who played some classical music, who were astounding, and the drummers of Burundi. Do you remember those as well?
Of course, what an opening act. Anyway, we don't want to be getting dragged through our reminiscence. That was absolutely, utterly, utterly brilliant. And so looking forward. I know what's coming up tomorrow. I read the notes ahead of you, and it's my favorite track of hers. So hopefully you'll be able to join us on that one.
Next, maybe at some point we could do a Peter Gabriel curated week or something like that. That might be an interesting thing. From like the early days Genesis through, So
we need Sean to do the notes, because I mean, like the backstory, it's great, All right, so you're in the middle of Kate Bush week. We've got more Kate Bush coming up. We've got Prog week. We've got coming up. We've got Aussie week 3. If there's any other suggestions for curated weeks, anyone, feel free to send them forward. So we've got a lot coming up if you like and subscribe, but tomorrow is what I'm excited for.
Excellent. Like, subscribe, hit the bell, and you'll get get notified.
And don't give up.
Don't give up. Don't ever give up.
No. I want a woman like that. See you later.
Oh, yeah,
we do.